Very warm welcome to all of you to our first panel discussion hosted by MITSD. I would like to tell you that this is one of the many panel discussion series that we're going to have in the future. Today's panel discussion is on upcoming digital marketing trends of 2021. For today's discussion, we have with us Mr. Amit Jain, who's the founder and CEO of Corporate Cosmos, a digital marketing consultation company, and he's also the lead faculty to our newly launched postgraduate certificate program in digital marketing. Our second panelist for the day is Mr. Devdatta Mandore. He is the CEO of WebClincher, a digital marketing service company. And I am Devika Godbole, and I'll be the moderator for today. So, as we all know, the pandemic has shown us the importance of digital marketing and the importance of being technically sound in today's world. Many big and small companies have turned their attention to digital marketing thanks to the pandemic, as that was the only source through which they could reach the audience. Digital marketing, according to me, has tremendous potential, and the one who learns to harness its power can be considered the fittest to survive in this ever changing world. I'm sure you both agree with me. So, on this note, I would like to start with our panel discussion. So, hello, sirs. Welcome to the panel discussion.
Hello, thank you so
Now,
much. Glad to be here.
Thank you, Devika. Glad to be here.
um, so uh, as we are talking about ever-changing world and the importance of digital marketing or the digital mediums for that matter, we have seen or we've come to see that outsourcing certain activities or certain processes has become cost efficient, or companies are preferring that over generating activities or doing activities in house. For example, the payment getaway solutions like Razorpay or PayPal, they have seen a tremendous increase nowadays. What is your thought about such payment getaway solutions like Razorpay or PayPal, which are gaining popularity, especially in small and medium scale industries, and those who cannot afford to have these payment getaways installed or generated in house? So, Amit sir, if you could throw some light on this.
Sure, lovely. Yes, perfect. The corona virus, the corona lockdown, the global lockdown around the corona pandemic has yes accelerated the entire digital transformation process. And from that perspective, yes, it is very important. It's very critical for all of us to join that trend, join that event which is happening globally. Just to give you a small example, recently HDFC Bank was asked to stop taking in any more customers before they upgraded their IT systems. Right? I'm sure we all must have. I hope all of us have seen that newspaper article.
Mhm.
So from that perspective, today digitization of entire process, let's say, digitization of an entire business model per se, is very important, is very critical and crucial for success. Right now, if you look at the monetary transactions, right, so that by far is one of the easiest ways, one of the easiest commodities which can be digitized, right? So if you really look at a payment gateway, what is it doing? It is basically acting as a courier between the buyer's bank account or financial status and the seller's financial status. Correct.
Mhm.
So if you look at a transfer of currency, if you look at any kind of a financial transaction, what is basically happening is there is I have certain amount in my bank. The seller has certain amount in my bank. If I have to pay 1,000 rupees, my account balance should be reduced by 1,000 rupees, and the seller's account should be increased by 1,000 rupees. Right? So it could this transfer could be in terms of cash, coins, credit card swipe, or a check, a draft, maybe even your Sodexo coupons and things like that. Any kind of an alternate currency, a parallel currency system. So from that perspective, then all of these physical devices have these physical methods have maybe some sort of a disadvantage somewhere. I might forget my wallet. I might not be having my credit card with me. I might not be having enough cash. My cash might get mutilated in rains, so on and so forth.
Right.
So if I eliminate all of this, so at the end of the day, all I am transferring is a token, a sort of a permission to reduce my bank balance with a certain amount and increase another bank balance with the same amount. So
Right.
when all of these payment gateways are now available, so these are again acting just like these courier services, which are in a way permissions to change these numerical values.
Hmm.
Correct. So from
Yeah.
that perspective, then using all of these payment gateways. So if you really start to look at the typical digital marketing aspects, like let's say Instagram or let's say Facebook. So these are today being used more for advertising, more for lead generation, more for product awareness, more for brand awareness, and things like that. Now, if to these, we could, so all of these small businesses which are using these platforms for showcasing their products, showcasing their services, if also we can add a functionality like add to cart.
Hmm.
So right there, then the transaction happens. And then for these small scale industries, it becomes organizations, it becomes very easy. It becomes a lot more cost effective because now they don't need their own websites to act as payment gateways.
Right.
Right. So today, what is happening? You click on Insta, it takes you to their website, and there then you perform the selection, the checkout, the payment, and all. Correct. So
Right.
it's a very powerful situation where if you really look at the data model itself, the business model itself, that will
Hmm.
completely get radically modified. Netflix, for example.
Hmm.
Correct. So that entire service today is being provided. The product has been replaced by a digital equivalent. We don't need to go to a movie hall and buy popcorn and this and that and everything.
True.
Everything is coming to us on our platform at our location.
Right.
Right. So from that perspective, if we just attach a payment gateway to all of these other sites, these small organizations which are now having to maintain their own individual uh, infrastructure will get tremendous fillip and will get a tremendous cost savings.
True. Devdatta sir, if you would like to weigh in.
Yeah, so taking forward from there, that see, we need to understand that who all parties are involved in the complete ecosystem. So, the connect of digital payments, if we can actually look at, I personally see the roots at demonetization as one of the major events which government of India carried out.
Hmm.
And that was very loud and clear message from the government that if we have to reach the 5 trillion GDP mark, one of
Hmm.
the important things is going to be that our banking systems will have to be strong. Every single consumer will have to be on the banking system, and the money routing has to happen through this system.
True.
So, party number one, government very strong on digital payments.
Yes.
Party number two is banks and financial institutions, which are actually day to day managing all this. So for from their perspective also it works out very well because the physical transaction volume will go down and technology will take over. So their cost of operation will go down, their profitability will still be there. From a business
Right.
perspective also, if we see, businesses were slightly reluctant at the time of demonetization, but now you see eventually slowly that's they have also understood that our operational cost is also significantly going down. So there's a good response to the new system like Razorpay, Google Pay. In fact, surprisingly, Paytm came first, but Google Pay actually took in. So
Yes.
from their perspective, also it's working out very well. And last but not the least, from the consumer's point of view, as Amit sir said, that I don't need to keep money in my pocket nor at my home.
Yeah.
Even if I, just pick up my mobile phone and go somewhere, I can still shop
Yes.
at any
Yes.
amount. So
True.
all in all, looks very promising, and a lot of developments uh, we're seeing forward will happen in this space.
Absolutely, absolutely. So on this note, I think we should have a poll then, our first poll. Can we have the poll, please? Are we ready with the answer for the poll? So I 62% are saying that chatbots are effective to some extent for lead generation. Well, that's I think a good percent. Moving on. Um, as we were talking about lead generation in the poll, Devdatta sir, I would like to know your thoughts on LinkedIn stories. Well, we have stories on every platform nowadays, be it WhatsApp, be it Instagram. We have one on LinkedIn too. So, what do you think about LinkedIn stories? And do you think they're effective for co- large companies or companies of any scale for that matter to leverage those stories for their benefit? What do you think about it?
All right. So first, we need to understand that what is LinkedIn position in overall digital marketing landscape. So LinkedIn is part of something called digital marketing channels. That is one place where they target audience. So if you look at in India, there are right now about 70 crore internet users, and the latest statistics indicate that about 10 to 12 crore LinkedIn active LinkedIn users are there now.
Mhm.
So the overall position of LinkedIn is in the digital marketing space is as one of the important platforms, channel and platform. So we
Hmm.
look search as one of the channels, we look social media as one of the channels, we look e-commerce as one of the channel. So social is a very powerful channel, as we all know now.
Yep. Hmm.
So LinkedIn has an attribute of B2B as a platform
Yes.
where working professionals and serious social media users are seen very frequently. We would see that LinkedIn is not just offering the local market now, global market. There are a lot of organization, lead generation companies in India here setting up for IT company, IT other services. Specifically, they have team to generate leads through LinkedIn and targeting Middle East market, US market, European market, those kind of things. So
Hmm.
LinkedIn is known for lead generation and quality lead generation. This is one, and B2B process. Now coming to the stories part of it. So stories is a recently introduced functionality of LinkedIn, and the functionality is already tried and tested on Facebook as well as Instagram. Now whether it works in B2B context or not, so the users are here, they are serious users. What LinkedIn in fact needed at this point in time is the if you normally post something that goes in the news feed, if a business is posting anything that goes in the news feed,
Hmm.
uh, news feed, the post may go down, the post may not be relevant, like you can also see 1 week old post. So what
Yes.
is interesting, how the interest can be maintained, how brand reach, brand awareness, brand recall can be created. So there's where LinkedIn stories come into play. We know about stories, 24 hours is the shelf life of each story. So
Yes.
if there's something right now which I want to announce as an organization, as a business, as any achievement is there, or some new product launch is there, I want to create an excitement and reach. stories works out very well. So now LinkedIn actually has got multiple ways where the professionals or organizations can actually communicate with their target audience. Earlier there was newsfeed, then there was chat, then there were LinkedIn articles were also there, and now this is stories, which is like a 24 hours shelf life. So makes it very dynamic, makes it instant. We all know
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
social media platforms have known to be instant. We like instant food, so everything is going instant. So the stories is bringing that instant factor and giving very good opportunity to organizations to reach.
Right. Amit sir, your thoughts?
Totally agree. Couldn't agree more. First, we have to understand that a platform has its own culture, has its own reach, has its own audience, and has its own language, its own lingo, so to speak.
Yes.
Right. So, from that perspective, what Devdutt sir was said was perfectly right. This is a B2B kind of a scenario, a very formal kind of scenario. If you start to post your Goa pics on LinkedIn, people will vote you down. Right? People
Yes.
will try to tell you like, let's keep this formal, let's keep this serious. Okay, so from that perspective, yes, LinkedIn Stories, great place if you're looking for a B2B, a great avenue, a great opportunity if you're looking for a B2B, and if you're looking for brand building or increasing your brand
Right.
awareness, brand reach, and things like that. So for that, sort of that, any announcements that you'd like to make, any new technology, any new acquisition, any new invention, innovation. So for those announcements, I think it's a very perfect tool.
Too. I think even you can build a company image in maybe employer or employee minds through
Yes,
LinkedIn
yes,
stories.
lovely. Yes, and
Right.
while so if you're looking for a long-term gain from an image building perspective, I think the regular posts might be a little more effective that way. But yes, to
Hmm.
generate that interest, to generate that curiosity factor, and generally to just have sort of a mental trigger, keep
Yes.
playing your brand in the mind of your customers or your target audience. I think that
Right.
is very brilliant. But yes, not just from a B2B perspective, it's very valid point. Even
Yeah.
for your internal employees to get that sense of engagement, sense of belongingness, and that brand building from that perspective, again, yes, a great avenue.
Yeah. Sure. So while we are talking about such social media platforms, again, I would like to direct my question to Devdatta sir. Do you think that Twitter is a lead generation platform? I mean, if you think it is, then do you think there is any effective strategy to generate leads from Twitter?
Right. So from LinkedIn to Twitter, again, as we understood that Twitter is also a part of a social media marketing channel. So it's again one of the platforms. We have known that if you have to assign the quality of users
Hmm.
uh, in the ascending order in terms of least important, the quality list,
Hmm.
quality to the best quality, Twitter is actually more a matured platform.
Hmm.
It's very matured. That's why we see that though number of users on Twitter are less and small,
Yeah.
many people, many users and consumers also say we don't understand Twitter, therefore we are not going on Twitter at all because we don't see all those whims and fancy on Twitter. But if you actually look at Twitter, the one of the best things of the Twitter is it has no algorithm. That
Hmm.
differentiates Twitter from any other social media platforms. Facebook runs on an algorithm. Instagram runs on an algorithm. LinkedIn also runs on an algorithm. But Twitter is one platform which doesn't have any kind of an algorithm. So therefore, Twitter's intervention to display your information to the audience that you are targeting, that there is no barrier there. That is why we
Right.
see major global turnaround events in last 13, 14 odd years. Twitter is played
Yes.
an instrumental role there. So taking that, but here in the business context, corporates are using Twitter for two, three purposes. The first purpose is that since the users are very savvy on Twitter, They are very knowledgeable on Twitter. They know if they come here on Twitter and they talk, then it's not the target on audience will also know. Other corporates and competition will also get to see that thing. Media is also there, and a lot of other elements are there. So this is the nature of Twitter as a platform. So
Right.
corporates primarily would look at Twitter. They look at Twitter as a customer relationship management platform. Now, customer
Mm,
relationship management is an extension of customer acquisition, loyalty building, and retention. That is how it
mm,
goes. So the effort of the corporate is already going in there. They
right.
have huge teams. We believe it or not, there's more seriousness and there's more effort here on the Twitter. The teams are already sitting. So the corporate's mindset there now is, why not, if we are investing so much already, why not also make it a lead generation platform? So corporates have already started using that there. Now, in case of small businesses, where if their target audience is online, which is, I would say, again, B2B or a serious buyer or a little higher value segment, higher ticket size segment, for small business also it can work out a very good platform, because here you can reach to an audience at a very low cost if you are consistent. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you want to advertise on Facebook, there's a reach algorithm will block. I mean, it will
Yes.
stop the reach. Then you'll have to
Mm,
spend on the advertisements. LinkedIn
yes.
advertisements are very expensive for the
Yes.
small and medium enterprises. But here, if you know your target audience is there, you decide your product communication, you create your content plan, go on using hashtags,
Mm-hmm.
go on following your target audience, engage your target audience by liking their post or whatever piece of content that they are posting. And
Mm-hmm.
in this way, so if just to give you an analogy, even if you have zero follower, you can still reach 1,000 people if you properly know what hashtag, what is your product, what is the hashtag that your target audience is using. That is the power
Mm-hmm.
of Twitter. So
Right.
Twitter as one of the important channels if your target audience is present on the Twitter. That is a very
Right.
important underline.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Amit sir, would you like to weigh in?
Sure, lovely. Yes, perfect. Yes, if your target audience is there, definitely it's a great platform. One, it is designed to be a conversation, right? With your tweets, your
Mm,
retweets, your responses, your hashtags, your taggings, your at the
right.
rate taggings, and things like that. It is designed. The product itself is designed to become
Mm,
a conversation. Okay, so that way
right.
it is, I think, a great tool, a very simplified tool. Plus, without getting into what Devdutt sir said, was into all of those jings and bangs. So all of those
Yeah.
distractions are now stripped. Okay, just the
Right.
pure text, 140 characters. So you have, it's an elevator pitch right there. So that way, I
Right.
think it is a fantastic option for creating lead generation.
Beautifully put. So now it's time for a second poll. Can we have the poll, please? So 42% of the people say that zero click search will lead good results in lead generation. Do our panelists agree with that?
Very
I
interesting.
would,
So,
yeah, yeah,
sir, please go
yes.
ahead.
No, no, you
Yes,
can
Amit
please
sir.
go ahead. Hmm.
Sure. So thank you. So when we talk about zero-click search, what we're basically saying is all sorts of involuntary searches, advertisements that we are getting exposed to. Yes, is that right? Correct?
Yeah.
Right. On the same page, everybody agrees. right? So when we have a setup like that, then we would like to uh, understand, all right, what other at the back end, what kind of profiling is happening. Okay, who is able to see my advertising, who is able to see my communication, and from that perspective, then I feel that a slightly higher percentage of people will be able to reach. It will be more effective than just, I think, what, 42%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good thing. I mean, just as we were talking about Twitter, which basically focuses on the content. So I think zero click search, the in form of maybe snippets or the content that we've generated or we will be generating, I think that should yield a good result. I think people are catching up on the idea of a good content is what we can say from this. Do you agree?
Right, right. Yes.
Yeah.
So, in fact, Devika, there
Hmm.
we know that a lot of digital marketing is now content marketing. There is a
Yes.
big overlap there now. And so, not necessarily that every piece of content has to convert into a lead, and it will not convert. In fact, if
Right.
we try to do that, then it will be a pushy sales.
Yes.
So the customers get intimidated. So what
Right.
customers would be okay is seeing your content coming them at a certain frequency, depending on your target audience and the product that you are trying to market.
Right.
And that is in fact doing a good amount of brand building
Right.
along with that.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yes. Agreed. So now if we are talking about marketing and advertising, Hamid sir, do you think that advertising on OTT platforms like maybe Hotstar or Netflix or Z5 or such is beneficial for companies having bootstrap funding?
Now this is so the funding provides a deeper pocket. All right. So that way, then we can afford to have free content, right? So if you look at Hotstar, like no, Netflix is pure play free, paid, right? It's
Yes.
completely paid. There is no free component whatsoever. If you look at Hotstar,
Yes.
there are multiple categories of content. There is free content, then there is I think VIP, and then premium, and
Yes. Premium.
things like that,
Yes.
right? So different
True.
types of
Yes.
contents are available for different price points, correct?
Yes.
If you look at Z5 and etc., now those the content there is totally on a different level altogether, right? So
Right.
so so the platform by itself is
Hmm.
having a sort of a segmentation. Okay, so for example, live shows, live reality shows, not just reality shows, but even sports for that matter, is more
Mm-hmm.
on the Sony side and more on the Hotstar side and less on the
Hotstar.
Netflix side and things.
Yes.
Now, what we
Absolutely.
really need to understand, and this is a very interesting dichotomy of this whole situation, where we want free content, but when I'm going on to YouTube, I'm not really going to watch an ad, right? I'm
True.
going there for some other purpose, maybe some entertainment, maybe some information, some knowledge, some time pass, whatever, some review, something,
True.
right?
Yes.
Some research, correct? So from that perspective, it becomes counterproductive if the platform is very heavily advertisement dependent,
Mm-hmm.
right? And as net becomes even more cheaper, even more omnipresent, people start to use this content on those on those small devices, on those small platforms, on those mobile platforms.
Hmm.
I believe that people will start to, if you look at Netflix, how they had to move down from a 7.99 per month and things like that to a 129 price range, correct?
199.
So that
Yes.
is how, yeah, right. So that is how the market will change. That is how the acceptability of this will change. And I think if I'm looking for content at that point, pure play advertising might not really work out in our favor. People might move away from
Hmm.
that platform.
Mm-hmm. Right. Um, I think I agree with you because now even YouTube is coming with something called YouTube
Ex-
Premium.
Perfect.
So you pay extra to not watch the advertisement. So
Correct. And because there's an offer like that, I personally feel there's a market for it. People are coming onto a platform to watch content and not advertisements.
Right.
So that might be a dying model in some ways, my personal opinion.
True. True. Devdatta sir, your thoughts?
Yes. So as rightly mentioned here, that this the again the question is about the target audience. So whether this is Google's philosophy since they started in 1998. Their philosophy number one clearly stated: focus on users and all else will follow.
Hmm.
So if your user want it, you do it. If your users are not accepting it, you don't do it, and find a better way of doing it what your users want. So I
Hmm.
think the answer of the advertising strategy will lie around that.
Right. Agreed. Um. So, in this pandemic, what we have observed is everything has gone digital, and because there was no choice, there were no physical stores available to, shop. So companies like Amazon, e-com giants basically, Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, they all faced a boom in this pandemic. So do you think this happened only because of the pandemic? I mean, is the change temporary or it is here to stay? Your thoughts? I mean, Devdatta sir, I guess.
Right.
After you.
Okay. So very interestingly, uh, few people want that to happen and few people do not want that to happen. Right. So if you actually look at Indian market is a price sensitive market.
Yes.
So where you give a price advantage to a customer is willing to take a little more effort, willing to stretch. Now e-commerce model have evolved such a way that now it's not just a price, it is also about the comfort. So on the e-commerce platform, you are getting price as well as comfort. This is one factor that we need to understand. Uh, Again, if you have to segment the market, the urban market and rural market,
Mm.
the adoption of technology, the speed at which the technology has been adopted. So there is a mix of that. We now know that pandemic has of course led to higher number of internet users in the rural segment as compared to the urban segment. And we know Mr. Prahlad's very famous book, Fortune at the Bottom of Pyramid. And then June onwards, we saw that Geo coming in, and Geo has
Yes.
also announced e-commerce platform in a major way. So um, this is one thing. Now on the other side, if we look at, so consumers, we are clear, if the price is good, if there is convenience, then there will be a preference.
True.
Number two, the the technology companies, the facilitation companies, the e-commerce giants, they want this all those things to happen. Now let us look at from the entrepreneur's perspective, this SME's perspective. SME, at the end of the day, SME wants ROI, a very good ROI. They want, and how the ROI can be achieved is by doing achieving more sales and achieving good margins. Now achieving more sales without joining hands on the e-commerce platform or going e-commerce themselves
Hmm.
for a certain market is a limit. Like for example, there are let's say uh, two SMEs with two different mindset. One wants to have more sales volumes and want a better ROI, and the another one want is sort of because there is a technology shift, because there is a mindset shift required, may not wanting to do here. Now the market which wants more sales, higher volumes, that market is more. India has about 5 crore MSME segments, if you have to say, not just SME, I'm talking about a very micro to
Mm.
SME segment. So that 5 crore is a huge business base that are there. And interestingly, uh, more than 50% of this base are now today led by the young entrepreneurs who are
Yes.
well educated. They are aspirants, they are ambitious, and their senior generation has also seen that the business is changing, the technology is changing now. So in last 6-7 months, Corona has become like a push factor, a very natural push factor, but
Yeah,
that has also led to adoption by the senior generation of the members also.
true.
Like very interestingly, we are seeing like last 5-6 months till last year, the clients which were making payments were depositing check in the bank account. Suddenly this year they started asking about, do you have Google Pay,
Yes,
right? So those kind of questions are so young generation is there. They want to expand. They don't want to restrict themselves to the locality. So they would also all the support all the technology giants because they know that there's a platform there. Of course, another challenge there is going to be a competition. So how do you handle the competition?
right. Hmm.
So but first they would like to expand and alongside decide or make a strategy how they will compete. Anyways, they are not losing; they are gaining on that.
Right. So,
So yeah.
sorry, just to cut you in because a question just cropped up in my mind.
Hmm.
See, now that you're talking about adaptation and competition and everything, as you rightly said, because of this pandemic, first there were few sites like say Big Basket or Grofers who were selling grocery or household items, and now even Swiggy and Zomato have moved into this sector. So I think, as you rightly said, this is what adaptation, adaptability means, and that's what pandemic has taught us.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Amazon has done phenomenal work. Fortunately
Yes.
for India, Flipkart is the first mover and they have done phenomenal work. Still, there's a very strong competition heat there right now. Jio has already announced. Star
Right.
is also, the Tatas are there.
Hmm.
Uh, and quite a few other players are taking interest here. So the technology, the investment, the operations capability, all of that in this place. India's advantage. See, one of the things that we need to understand in India is the demographics. 135 crore population. If they are given good price and at their convenience, will they buy the product? The answer
Right.
is yes. On the other side, does business want more market? Yes. I'll just to give you an example. People, businesses or clients who were resisting until last year to go on e-commerce because there's a lot of competition, price cut is there. They have understood now that business is very uncertain. They are paying very heavy, capital expenditure cost or heavy rental cost in the places there. So they want
Right.
to go remote. They want to open their shop on the e-commerce platform. They want to also create an independent shop so they are not fully dependent. So cover local market with their private e-commerce website as well
Hmm.
as try to get a bigger audience, bigger platform on this big marketplaces.
Right.
And they have understood that they cannot stop consumers going from the marketplaces.
Right.
If you type anything on Google today for any particular product, 80% of listing are e-commerce portals.
Right. True.
So ultimately,
Agreed.
your target audience is going there. So if you
Yes.
have to target that audience, the whole point is now get onto it and not resisting it. So e-commerce trend is here,
Yes.
and I'm sure Amit sir would agree. We are seeing very interesting time for e-commerce. Very very disruptive.
Yes. Amit sir.
Yes, yes, very disruptive. Yes, totally agree. Very disruptive. And if you really look at so the growth now, so if you look at, we talked about how Flipkart and Amazon had a boom. Now this
Hmm.
boom has not come across the platforms. Okay, across the categories. Let us speak. Okay, so if we temper our expectations, okay, to put in a sort of a softer side, a little dampener, we also had an urban ladder which went out on a distress trail on Reliance. Okay, so is e-com here to stay? Definitely. Where is the next phase going to come from? I think from tier 2, tier 3 cities. Okay, should more people be on it? Yes, most definitely. The entire advantage of e-commerce systems, which is reach, which is better cost efficiency and better predictability. Okay, so the minute you move digital, you have better data, you have better accuracy of your predictions, of your forecasting, and things like that. So that inherent exercise, that inherent advantage of moving digital, plus the whole increase of reach. So today, I don't know, a particular city, a particular town maybe has access to, let's say Levi's, has access to, let's say Adidas, which probably was not cost effective for Levi's to open up a showroom there. All right. So that kind of reach, that kind of again, totally agreeing with what Sir said.
Hmm.
The pyramid, the gold at the bottom of the fortune at the bottom of the pyramid,
Hmm.
right? So if the next growth will come from this segment, and
Right.
yes, I think it is here to stay. It is not a temporary thing, but it will need to be moderated. It will need to be tempered down. The expectations need to be tempered down from a suitability of the product to become digitized, right? So if we
Right.
are, let's say, talking about, let's say, books, of course, I'm buying a book for the words, for the ideas, for the concept. So
Hmm.
if I am not able to, if I just send you the PDF of that book, that's good enough, correct?
Right.
And that is how it will become. I think that is where the difference will happen. Otherwise, if we start to talk about groceries, for example, now I cannot download a pizza and eat it.
Yes.
So there, that physical touch, that physical, yeah. So if I'm buying a car, I don't think
Hmm.
I'll ever be comfortable buying a car online, because
Yeah.
I'll need that pampering, I'll need that customer experience,
True.
right? So I
Right.
think just from that perspective, but yes, is e-commerce here to stay? Definitely. Is every business compatible with the e-commerce model? I don't think so.
Right. Perfect. So yeah, just to summarize, so e-commerce, yes, it is here to stay, but it is not exactly true for every business. And well, the boom is right, I guess. So now we'll have our third poll. Can we have the poll, please? In the meanwhile, I would like to ask the audience to send in their questions if they have any. So 50% people, well, it's a mixed poll, I guess. It is difficult to answer,
Yeah,
I think.
difficult to follow. Yeah.
Yeah, well, but according to Google, well, the Google search that they've conducted, it is 27% around
Oh,
the
is
globe.
that right? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I would expect it to be a lot more, given that now almost everything is voice based, right? You can hum
Yes,
a song on YouTube and it will tell you which the song is.
true.
All your Amazon Echo, etc., all of those are all voice based. Your Amazon Fire
Yes,
Stick, etc. Your remote controls today on Fire, on smart televisions, they are all voice based. But I think it has not caught on yet. Maybe that is
yes,
one side.
yes,
Second, I think it's maybe the dependency on the language, right? Plus the multiple accents that we have across India. I think
yes,
from all of that perspective, the technology might not be so sophisticated yet. It's still better.
yes.
It's still improved a lot. I remember
Yeah,
there was a time when it was only English. Today there are a whole bunch of other languages which are already available.
yes, yes.
I think it will
So
catch
that
I
also
catch on.
indicates the
I
potential.
think it will.
Yes.
If the number is small
Yes,
right now and if the market is already so seems to be so lucrative,
yes.
yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely agreed. So talking about lucrative market, there's a new thing called influencer marketing. We've heard about social media influencers and YouTubers or YouTube influencers. So, Devdatta sir, I would like to know your thoughts on influencer marketing and the impact that they have on the purchasing pattern of the consumers.
Thanks that you asked that question to me because influencer marketing is one of the close things to my heart as an industry. area because it has evolved very interestingly over last 10-15 years. I still remember in 2007 when I was interacting with someone at Yahoo, and this
Mm-hmm.
gentleman told that time that you create some content, and over a period of time you will be known to for that content, and then you will be able to monetize. So since then in 2007, even Facebook was not much known. Gmail was fairly new. Twitter, of course, was not there at that time. YouTube had just come in. So the point is that uh, first of all, let's very quickly understand what is influencer marketing for the audience purpose. Um, so there is an audience who needs content. Why do we go on internet? Why we are going on digital platform is because we need content. So we go on Google search for content. We go on YouTube because we want some content there. And by content we mean there are three types of contents in this space. Knowledge. The first one is entertainment. Entertainment is considered to be the number one category in terms of content. Second is knowledge, and third is skills.
Hmm.
So entertainment is number one. If you look at top five YouTubers in India today, out of top five, four are into entertainment category,
Hmm.
and there's one in other category. And then if we take top 10, top 25, also more or less the statistics would match.
Hmm.
So the way influencer marketing works is that an influencer is good at a particular subject, and that influencer creates a content and disseminates that content or tries to reach to the target audience through various platforms. So maybe able to, if you are searching on Google, an
Hmm.
influencer will create a piece of text on his blog or a website,
Hmm.
and user will land up there, or through YouTube,
Yes.
or with the help of hashtags on social media, or in terms of a follower base.
Hmm.
So the influencer is getting an attention from the target audience. That is the status.
Yes.
Now, if the audience is, if the quality of content is good and if the influencer is genuine,
Hmm.
then the engagement and the trust level is also becomes improves over a period of time. So therefore, for organizations now, they know that if I talk about myself on one of these platforms, it is me saying it.
Hmm.
So trust may be there, or the user more might not take it very seriously. But if the same piece of information is going through influencer to the
Hmm.
target audience, then the belief, the trust factor would be there, depending on the uh, so traditionally we see the influencers. We have seen what happened in Bollywood for last 7-8 months now. That is one segment. Cricket and Bollywood works very well in India, we all know,
Yes.
and they are
Yes.
they were the major influencers, and they still have that weightage. But
Yeah.
now Indian audience have also understood whatever happened for in last 7-8 months. They have now started opened up their minds and thoughts to those people who are not celebrities, but they are expert in their field. They are getting content, free content over a period. They start, consumers start with a small piece of content. If the
Hmm.
content is useful, they will come for a bigger piece of content. And if
Right.
the subsequent experiences are good, then they will stick to it. They will believe in it. So, it is like a extended advisor. If the past experience about the suggestion of influencer is good. So influencer marketing um, has both sides. The influencer has to be really strong. It has to have a track record. Should be producing good piece of content. Should win the hearts of the customer, because influencer
True.
marketing sometime can be counterproductive also. That
Hmm.
again we have seen things when they change, they turn. We don't really know. So
Yeah.
here, influencer has to have a track record. The another important thing that organizations need to see while going through influencer marketing is what is the value system of an influencer and what is the value system of a brand. and
Hmm.
what is the value system of the target audience. So if this combination is understood properly to certain extent, then this works out very well. And influencer marketing uh, really becomes, in fact, I know a campaign
Hmm.
run many campaign. ITC has run this campaign. Lakme has run this kind of campaigns. They have hired a lot of in the fashion industry this happens. So
Hmm.
you will see a lot of fashion bloggers. They
Hmm.
are leading influencers in the space. So basically, if the organizations have to understand about how to go about influencer marketing in a nutshell,
Hmm.
understand are there any influencers in your space?
Hmm.
What is which target audience they are catering to? Are they your target audience?
Hmm.
And if the value system is matching, if the content is promising, go with it. And
Absolutely perfect.
time to time,
Hmm.
this will have to be revisited, because
Yes.
today who is number one may not be number one. Somebody else tomorrow would be.
Very true.
Totally.
Very true.
Totally true. So true.
True.
Yes. So recently, I was reading an article on Business Insider. It said that Flipkart has bought 100% stakes in an augmented reality and virtual reality company, a startup called Scapic. So, Amit sir, I want to know your thoughts. That is augmented reality or virtual reality truly the future? And what do you think about this move of Flipkart? Do you think it was right? It was too early to maybe they should have waited a few months or years maybe to do this? What do you think?
The short answer is brilliant move. Kudos to Flipkart for identifying that trend and getting in on the ground floor before, so they would have probably gotten it cheaper and things like that. Pretty
Hmm.
much same thing as the way Byju's did for White Hat Junior. Before it
Hmm.
became a global brand, before it completely boomed up, right? They purchased it and they got it for a very good price, I believe. Even though it
Hmm.
was a cash down interaction, I think transaction, I think it was phenomenal. So that way, what Flipkart has done, fantastic. What is augmented reality? So earlier, the earlier version of it was virtual reality. So what we're basically doing is there's the reality, and then we are adding another layer on top of it.
Hmm.
So whether you're wearing some sort of an eye gear or you're put in a place where the chair itself, etc., all of that is giving you that
Yeah.
experience. So you have a more immersive experience instead of it just being on a screen on a 2D thing.
Hmm.
You put in specs. If you're on a roller coaster ride, then you will get your
Yes.
blow of air in the face, maybe some sprinkling of water if you're running through a waterfall, and things like that.
Yes.
So adding to your reality, so augmenting to your
Hmm.
current reality.
Hmm.
Okay, so that is an augmented reality system, and what they have done. And if you really look at an example, an application of this, okay, so if you look at Lenskart, for example,
Hmm.
so they made an entire business model around that, okay, to address the sort of a mental block or maybe some sort of a resistance from
Yeah.
the user, from their potential
Hmm.
customer on their product. So what they
Yeah.
say, please take a snap of your photo of your face,
Yes.
multiple angles, okay,
Yeah.
and then based on the shape, size, etc., they will start to suggest frames to you, okay,
Right.
and not just suggest the frames, but they will also then the ones that you choose, they will
Hmm.
put those, superimpose those on your face,
Yes.
right? Pretty
Yes.
much like your Insta filters, yeah,
Yeah.
those puppy faces and dog ears and things like that, right? Pretty
Yes.
much the
Yes.
same thing, correct? So now you now know how
Hmm.
this is looking like, right? You know how it
Right.
will feel like, because at the end of the day, it is a fashion statement. It's a very personal
True.
statement. Now, from
True.
a Lenskart perspective, one, they have removed the whole angle of dikhega kaise, how will it look like? Okay, there
Hmm.
are other angles like the fit, the size, the weight, okay, the kind of lens.
Hmm.
Okay, all of those issues are still there, but
Yes.
from a physical appearance perspective, I think they have
Hmm.
done great in terms of providing that insight, providing that input. Correct. So if I could do the same thing for let's say dresses.
Hmm.
Okay, so if Flipkart from the I'm very consciously taking the apparel uh, category here. So if
Hmm.
I know how that color will look, if I need to know how that color will look on me, how that fit
Right.
will look on me,
Hmm.
all
Hmm.
right. So if the app or the e-commerce site would scan me and
Hmm.
accordingly then superimpose their product on it, and then I
Hmm.
can just look at the colors, look at the sizes, look at all of that, look at the various prints, various designs, just through a
Right.
swipe,
Yeah.
correct? And then moving on, they could then make it to order.
Hmm.
Okay, there could be some customizations which could be provided with a pocket, without a pocket, what kind of collar, half shirt, half sleeves, full sleeves, so on and so forth.
Right. Right.
Right.
Right.
So then go on and manufacture it only
Hmm.
when that order has been actually been placed.
Right.
Right. So think of it like those mugs that you get, customizable mugs where you put in
Yes.
your own
Hmm.
photo and things like that. So all I
Yeah.
need to have is just that blank mug. And then I can
Hmm.
provide customized services and charge a premium for that.
Right.
Right. So
Absolutely.
even
I
though the
completely
cost
agree.
is very low, the customization can come with a brilliant premium. And
Hmm.
from that perspective, and I think it is a phenomenal method. It's a phenomenal move, and
Hmm.
that again I think is definitely a sign of the future, where you will have a more immersive customer experience as you
True.
go forward.
True. True. I think Nerolac also had something like that. That you click a picture of the room and then you can choose the colors and just see for yourself how the room will look like.
Correct. And then we could have a 3D simulation of all of that and provide you a walkthrough in terms of how you are walking through your house and
Yeah.
how the rules, the walls, the rooms, etc. are going to appear like. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I think we've gotten some really interesting questions from the audience. And okay, so there's one question asked by Satyam Raut. What would be the code of ethics in digital marketing in the years to come? Code of ethic, code of conduct, ethics in digital marketing.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I believe it will be governed by the entire advertising rules which are currently being followed in terms of the facts, in terms of how you can, whether you can use your competitor's brand's name and things like that. I think the standard rules will apply. In fact, Apna OTT has also come under the Information and Broadcasting Ministry. So all those censorships, etc. So that is also a sign of times to come. I think they will all be governed by all of these. So the way Paytm is also been governed by the same RBI regulations, correct, and so
Hmm.
on and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, there's another question. Okay, so there's Anita B. So she has asked, what about the uneducated people who are not comfortable with digital marketing? What should the companies do to overcome such obstacles? So if Devdatta sir could answer that. Well, illiteracy in digital marketing is what I think we should call it, maybe. Sir?
All right. So we've seen now that one of the challenges, as the question is rightly asked, how do I reach if that is my target audience? How do I communicate with them?
Hmm.
And today, the advantage there is, see, one thing we have to clearly accept in terms of decision making. There are two types of decision maker. One is the end consumer, and one is the buyer, the purchase decision maker, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Now, uh, we are now uh, assuming that anybody who do not have an absolute access to this, they are not the target audience at this stage right now. Maybe in a couple of years down the line, when government of India rural digitization programs are there, Google is doing a lot of work in the rural area. That time may be more possible now. At this stage, we are talking that the bare minimum accessibility is a smartphone and internet connection, which is not no more a dream now. It's almost close to a practical thing, even in the rural area, because smartphones are very cheap. At five, the entry point of smartphone is about 5 to 6,000 rupees. The data is a very reasonably priced. Second, some member of the family is already on the digital platform, so they want the other end also be on to be on the digital platform. So the least that is happening right now is at least they are listening, they are watching YouTube, or if not YouTube, at least a WhatsApp. They may not be using emails, they may not be going on search,
Hmm. Hmm.
but these two things are definitely there right now. And I would give YouTube a higher weightage here. Even if I have to ignore WhatsApp, YouTube is still having an advantage here, because the YouTube, there is no literacy required here. It's about seeing and listening to it.
Hmm.
All right. So, and there is a lot of content creation already there on YouTube. So there are
Hmm.
content creators on YouTube who are creating content, and on the
Hmm.
other side, people who are watching that vernacular content. So YouTube
Right.
here becomes the, if no other channel, YouTube becomes the
Hmm.
primary source of entry in
Right.
our world. Yeah.
Well said. Well said. Um, I think I would just take
YouTube
one
has
more
an option
question.
of advertising. Sorry, just
Hmm.
last one
Yeah.
line. YouTube has an
Yes.
option of advertising on a particular channel only. So if your target audience is watching those videos and those channels, any video on
Hmm.
that channel, a brand can specifically target those channels.
We have one question. I think it's a glaring question from Minakshi. She's asking, will digital marketing lead to the problem of unemployment because everything is digitized? Will it lead to unemployment? Amit sir, thoughts?
No. The short answer is no. See, we talked the same. We said the same thing when computerization was happening. Okay,
Hmm.
probably we said the same thing when mechanization was happening. Okay,
Hmm.
assembly lines result in the loss of jobs. That loss of jobs in a particular sector, in a particular profile, maybe.
Hmm.
Okay, but then to compensate it, there is a whole bunch of new activities which are constantly coming. All right,
Hmm.
so if
Yeah.
you know we have today roles which did not exist 5 years ago, 10 years ago,
Hmm. True.
right? So
Right.
from that perspective, I think no, it will not result in anything. You will probably need to change your skill set, change your focus area, change your plan, growth plan, your career path, maybe, or take something which is slight deviation, and which is going to happen any which ways, which is
Right.
today. When I was in my engineering college, all of this C was big thing. Now, if I had
Hmm.
stuck to that, I would have been out
Yeah.
of job in the first 5 years of my career. Java
True.
became the next big thing. ASP.NET became the next big thing. Today it is Python. So anybody who's still on Java,
Yeah.
he has a slight disadvantage. Maybe next 5 years, that person will need to move to
Yeah.
Python or to
Yeah.
R, or one of those to sustain
Hmm.
themselves, right? So
True.
from that perspective, I think the world is ever changing. And pehle somebody was probably driving an auto. Today they're driving an Uber.
True.
It'll all work out. I don't
True.
think the future is bleak. There are more
Absolutely.
and more people every day in the world. There will be more and more requirements of activities. There will be more commercial activities, and for
Hmm.
to sustain all of that, there will be more people required to run these systems, processes, and things like that.
Absolutely. So I think, Minakshi, to answer your question, for a layman like me, digital marketing is truly can seem truly intimidating, but once we become aware of the potential that it holds, I'm sure it is the most intriguing field. And for that purpose, I think MIT should be proud that we have understood the potential that this digital marketing holds. And that is why we've come up with a postgraduate certificate in digital marketing, which Amit sir is the lead faculty for. So, yeah, so on this note, I think we have reached the end of our discussion. But before we go, I would request both of you to maybe give us some food for thought, some tidbit that we can think about, ponder on. Amit sir?
Lovely. Yeah, sure. And yes, thank you. This was a great initiative. This was great being here. And having been very close to the design of the program and everything, I think it's extremely exciting, an idea which is a little ahead of our times. And if we get on that uh, skill building initiative right away, I think all our audiences will definitely gain tremendously from it. People who
Yes.
are probably in that stream already, or people who are wanting to make the transition into that stream. And from that perspective, then if I'll just leave with a thought in mind. Okay, so all our esteemed audiences, whatever, if you are thinking of, let's say, I'll think of a restaurant, think of a new restaurant which has come up,
Hmm.
and what kind of uh, digital marketing strategies they should start to build. Okay, so just trying to encompass and trying to collate everything that we've discussed today in this
Hmm.
session. Maybe you would also want to then apply all of that and try and understand. So the basic steps, the basic sequence of steps would be to identify first the platform which is most suitable for your uh, audiences. Where are they? Second would be the type of content and the kind of image. Okay,
Hmm.
probably a family dining restaurant will be very different from a pub slash disco slash lounge, right?
True.
So from that perspective, what is the image that you want to build in? Is it a fun image or a formal image?
Hmm.
You would also need to then understand the content that you're trying to generate, that you're trying to broadcast, how you're trying to connect. And once you have that, then I think the last step would be to set up a schedule and
Hmm.
generate the list of followers, etc., the mailing lists or the following lists, followers lists, the followers database, and things like that. So if you could just use these steps and then just think around how you would go around if you were the digital marketing consultant approached
Hmm.
by a particular restaurant.
Perfect. Devduta sir.
Sure. So uh, we have understood now that for every professional, digital marketing is going to contribute in some way.
Hmm.
There is no that's in a sort of inevitable now.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so whether it's a startup, whether it's an organization which is a 10-year-old organization, or whether it's an individual or a professional.
Hmm.
So my suggestion here would be that audience, some of the audience can think of
Hmm.
where they are right now in terms of their career,
Hmm.
what is it that they want to achieve for
Hmm.
themselves, and connect digital marketing as a path to reach to those particular goals. So, so to make it simple for them, set your goal,
Hmm.
and digital marketing would require two things. One is creating content on certain platforms. So it can be in terms of a blog, it can be in terms of a YouTube channel. If all
Hmm.
this is not to be done, it can be through a LinkedIn profile, as simple as LinkedIn profile also. Nothing else
Hmm.
really, because you can write articles there. Now you can post stories, you can post videos and
Yes.
network there also. So create content,
Hmm.
understand what content you would be very good at, because every individual has some passion, some interest definitely there. There is nobody in this world who doesn't have interest. We've seen channels like Nisha Madhulika also empty nest scenario and started a YouTube channel at the age of 55, and a lot of other case studies are there. So
Right.
understand what is your interest area in terms of content, create
Hmm.
content,
Hmm.
use one of these channels and keep a consistent effort. Don't look at short term results. 3 months, the moment I write an article, I need an applause from 20 people. That will not happen unless
Hmm.
you don't write 20, 30 articles over a period of 6 months, 1 year. People would want to know whether you are consistently producing it.
True.
So
Hmm.
give a justified time, and I'm sure if the consistent effort is put, the it will work out very well for the audience.
Definitely, definitely. This is great food for thought for me, and I, for one, would love to, conduct these activities and experiment. And I hope I can get some guidance from you as well. So now I would like to thank our panelists for taking out their valuable time and joining us for this panel discussion. Thank you, Amit sir. Thank you, Devdatta sir. Thank you so much.
Oh,
I
please
would
don't
also
mention
like
it.
to, I
Sorry, it
would
was sheer
also like to
pleasure.
thank
Yeah.
our director, sir, for giving us this platform and this wonderful initiative. And I'm sure we'll be seeing much more of you in our panel series. And lastly, I would like to thank all our audience for being a wonderful audience, participating with all their hearts, and hope to see the audience also in our series of panel discussions in the future. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Look forward to that. Thank
MITSD
you so
has
much.
done phenomenal work in terms of having this kind of creating awareness, and digital marketing is very, very apt right now for all the audience. So great work.
Absolutely.
I congratulate and I thanks for taking us here.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.